So,
This is at Bismarck State College?
you're right, at Bismarck State College.
The era was over.
That was it.
Well, I thought it was a shame, it wasn't the actual value, but it's, I guess, the concept that, I had used a slide rule for, I don't know, like 40 years I was teaching, and at least 20 years or more was all with a slide rule.
Okay, so this one that might be a little more insightful. If you have to pause to think, that's fine. So, are there some people that you think of often in your life that were your greatest influence of where you went with your career, what you did?
Well, I suppose maybe that math teacher I had in high school, he obviously he seemed to know what he was talking about, and I guess I liked math, and of course I grew up on a farm, so I didn't know what engineers even did, and nor what a chemist did. So I really didn't know, like, let's say most of the kids in nowadays, I would assume, knows what a civil engineer does from a mechanical engineer, and most of the schools have pretty decent counselors, and I had none of those things. So when I graduated from high school, all I knew was I liked math. So.
Frank, remember at Valley City, you ran into a
Oh, yeah.
mentor there.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I went to Valley City State, and the chemistry professor had one of his tasks that he had done for the city is he tested the water, I think daily or something, or maybe weekly. I can't remember how often it was. And so apparently he got tired of doing that, and he asked me if I'd be interested in doing that. And so he hired me to do that, and I did that on a regular basis. And apparently he was pleased with my work, and then I became a lab assistant. And then I became the lab person, and so I got a key to the building. And sometimes when I and my friends didn't know what to do, we would be in the chemistry building at night doing experiments. Obviously not supervised, but we were in there all by ourselves. And one of the times we did two things, I guess, that would be kind of naughty. But
No.
we made 1,4-butane diol, which is a similar odor to skunk oil. And we went down the main street of Valley City, and we dropped a vial of it on Main Street, and he had a unique odor on Main Street of Valley City. And
that's my Frank.
and we also did a chemilucent type chemical. And when light shines on it, it glows. And we just kind of happened to spill some of that here and there. And, everybody was wondering why this stuff glowed. So,
Did they think Martians had landed?
well, then, nobody ever questioned us about it, of course,
You're like, I didn't do anything. Fine.
But yeah, I prepared all the solutions, and so and so that I was totally amazed, and I'm, uniquely the first job I had out of college was when I at the health department, and my job was testing water for pollutants and that type of thing, and then of course some air and sewage, but. And I'm sure I got that job, and they were interested because that's what I had done for, at least a year at Valley City.
What in life in general, what causes you, to pause and kind of go, wow?
Well, I don't know. I guess I don't pause very often.
Answer number one, he doesn't pause.
And it's probably from my upbringing. We worked when we grew up on the farm. We worked until early in the morning, till late at night. And when we were tired and we went to bed, and then the next day you worked, and you didn't have a whole lot of time just to do nothing. And a lot of the people in my family are like that. They're not just sit around people. And so I don't ever sit around, and I don't pause to think about, Well, you know, we've had speakers when I used to teach, we'd get the speakers come in there like, my favorite one is like, if you were a tree, what kind of tree would you like to be? Or what kinds of things happened to you as a kid and how did you handle it? Well, you know, we handled it apparently and then we just let it go. You know, sit around and worry about, well, this so-and-so did wrong to me in the fourth grade, whatever.
Right. So if you could go back in time and do things over again, where you went with your career or whatever, would you change anything?
Well, probably what would have been the appropriate thing to do is going back. You know, like I said, the thing that I liked was math classes. I felt that the history classes and English classes were not necessary, and so to say the least, I didn't really work very hard in my history classes and English classes. And the first job I had, you know, for the health department when I analyzed water, people would submit water problems, water samples that had a problem, and I had to write a letter to everybody. And so the hardest part of my job was to write the letter. So I always told my students that unless you know what your job is going to be, don't, you know, say, you know, I don't like English or whatever, because you might need it.
Okay. Okay, so going backwards just a little bit with your teaching. So we did talk quite a bit about teaching, I think, on the other previous tape. If not, I'll look back and we'll catch that. But so you taught. Remind us again how many years you taught, where you taught, and then I want to go through and tell us about all of the numerous awards that you received for teaching throughout those years. So kind of those three things.
Well, I did my last 37 years of teaching at Bismarck State College in chemistry, and mostly freshmen and some sophomore students. I did like analytical chemistry, which is no longer required. And then in the freshman chemistry, we had two tiers of chemistry. One was for like chemistry for nurses and the non-chemistry majors, and then the chemistry, which I taught, was for the engineers, pre-meds, and chem majors, which included polymer chemistry, that type of thing. And you know, I tried to make sure that our chemistry was competitive. We would, you know, I got my master's at NDSU, and so I'd spend time, especially with NDSU. A lot of our students transferred to Fargo and UND, and make sure that we covered the same material as they covered. So I wanted my students to have, you know, equal background to where they were going. And so I spent a lot of time finding the latest technology. We were the first college in North Dakota to have a chemical technology that could collect data directly into computers. And so when we're the first college to update that to the newest technology as it became available. And so I was president of the Junior College Chemistry Association. And so I went to a lot of meetings, and I won awards from the National Chemical. I won. The name of the award was the National Chemistry Education Award, and so that was a national award. And I got the Apple Award, which was a local award in the city of Bismarck. And then over the years, we got a number of awards for our Chemistry Week was the third week of October, and then the second week of November for a while. And so I got several awards for the work that we did for Chemistry Week. So,
And don't forget, was it in 1998?
oh yes.
He had a very nice phone
Yeah,
call.
in 1998 I was awarded the Alumni of the Year from Bismarck State College. That was,
We were pretty proud of him.
yeah, so 1998, and I think that 1988, that was the same year that I won that National Chemical Education Award. So it was a very good year. That's I think I had 3 significant awards in 1 year.
All right, we're getting down there. So, if money for you was no object at all, and you could not spend it on anyone else but yourself, how would you spend it?
I would donate it to Gateway to Science so we can get our new building going.
How did I figure that out?
Okay, let's say that's a good answer. Let's take Gateway to Science out of the equation. Let's take Bismarck State College out of the equation.
Well, then we'd probably spend the money on a wood carving museum.
That's a good one. Well, that one in Colorado, that closed, didn't it?
It
Yeah.
did.
We're
Yeah.
trying to work on a wood carving museum out at Buckshot Junction right now.
There you go. Always getting something involved.
See, that's what we mean. He just never stops thinking. So, there's no pausing. There's no pausing.
You got to stay busy.
Okay, you okay to go back to those first early ones we did, or you want to?
That's fine.
Okay, so we just kind of just have that to go back through, and we're done. So tell me about where you met Kay and the moment that you saw her.
I met her while I was attending Bismarck State College in 1961 and 62. And it was actually I think it was the spring of the year. And she was coming down the steps, and I think I was just standing there in the first floor, kind of lost. I don't know what I was doing, but anyway, she was coming down the steps all alone, and I guess we greeted one another, and I don't remember if we talked very long that day or not, but that was the first time I had officially met her. And so she pestered me for a date then, and
Let's get this story right
we
here.
didn't hear how it
Let's get this story
we didn't hear
right.
how this progressed. Okay, so we see
Okay.
each other in the hall, and then what happened? What's the next
Okay,
step?
he went off to college,
Okay.
and I stayed
And
in
it-
Bismarck.
yeah, and it's about a year or so, a year and a half later, or
No,
longer than that.
no, longer than that. You went off to Dickinson, and then you went to Valley City and got your degree, and then you came back to work at the health department.
Yeah, and then
That's
I met her one night at all places of the bar.
it was a bar,
Oh no.
and many old timers will remember the Jolly George. And the rest is history.
So,
So did you even get introduced to her? I mean, you saw her in the hall. Did you like know each other's names? back?
no,
Oh. So then you,
we didn't have any classes in common.
So
No.
like you only thing like you had seen each other, and then these years later, then you saw each other again.
She looked very lonely. No.
And he had the same haircut. That's how I recognized him. Oh, the guy with the crew cut.
And the beard. Did he have the beard?
Oh no,
Oh, he didn't have
the
the
beard
beard.
came in with after children.
No, let's see.
Oh yeah.
Was Rob born?
Yes, yes, yes. Rob and Nancy both remember you as a clean-shaven man.
I don't know.
Hmm.
What did you two do for your first date after the bar scene?
I don't know. Did we maybe go to a movie?
Or you took me out for dinner.
Probably. She used to just really take advantage of my money I saved. And
Boy, you better be careful.
There's life after the interview, Grandpa.
but yeah, we used to. What was the name of
It
that
was
place?
the Gourmet House.
The Gourmet House. Yeah, we used to eat at the Gourmet House quite frequently.
We didn't do a lot of dancing, no, but we ate.
I had a bad knee.
You had a bad knee, and we saw lots of movies, and but you know, your first year in, well, you worked at the health department, but then the next year you started
Just teaching at
in
Center.
So
And I drove back and forth on weekends.
so he was
So-
kind of essentially gone during
Couldn't
the week.
afford to date her during the week.
You had to make some money.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I gotcha.
Uh,
So then getting back to the other questions, so we'll get back to, so tell me about a trip that you took with Mom in the past, one of your favorites.
Well, the one of the more memorable trips, and there were several.